Hello again, viewers, and welcome back. The last video that I posted and showcased was video number 2, where I started to introduce some of the government tyranny and hypocrisy. Well, today I'm going to be continuing on that. This time I'm going to get a little more in depth regarding that, and I'm going to start showcasing some of the blatant things that have been going on, and this is just a very small sampling of what has been going on and what continues to go on, keeping in mind that the whole premise here is that they're telling you to do one thing while they, as the government, do something completely different. Sort of like, one rule for you, one rule for me type of thing. The first thing I want to do, though, however, is show a couple of videos that I'm going to include in this as well. First video being of Justin Trudeau in a very passionate speech that he made, albeit a short one, about how it's important that we be fair and not discriminate against anybody, to treat people with openness and respect. Here's the video. See for yourself.
This country is a country of openness, of respect, of compassion, of the rule of law, of the rights of the individuals, of freedom. Freedom from fear, freedom from crime, freedom to love who you want and not be judged for it, freedom to do what you want with your body.
Hang on a second. Didn't we just watch Trudeau telling everybody, about being fair and equitable and all that? But here's another video of him. This one's in French, but there's English subtitles, where he sort of, changes his tune a little bit. So now, according to Trudeau, that if you are not vaccinated to his standards, you are now a racist and a misogynist. But Justin, how can you be fair and equitable to everybody, and then in a different time you call those same people who you called fair and equitable now racist and misogynist? Justin, I'm at a loss. Here's the video.
Oui, on va s'en sortir de cette pandémie par la vaccination. Puis on en connaît tous des gens qui sont en train d'hésiter un petit peu. On va continuer d'essayer de les convaincre. Mais il y a aussi des gens qui sont farouchement opposés à la vaccination.
Qui sont extrémistes.
Qui ne croient pas dans la science, qui sont souvent misogynes, souvent racistes aussi. C'est un petit groupe, mais qui prend de la place. Et là, il faut faire un choix en tant que leader, en tant que pays. Est-ce qu'on tolère ces gens-là ou est-ce qu'on dit, voyons, la plupart des gens, presque 80% des Québécois ont fait ce qu'il fallait faire, se sont fait vacciner, on veut revenir aux choses qu'on aime faire. C'est pas ces gens-là qui vont nous bloquer maintenant.
Yeah, as you can see, these are your politicians. But, don't take my word for it. Don't take my word over the fact that they want to institute communist states over everybody here, which is what I'm trying to showcase here. Here's another video. This one is from the Ontario Ministry of Health, where they're telling everybody, that you are only allowed X number of people in your home if you're not vaccinated or this or that. I don't know, but the last time I checked, I can have as many people in my house as I feel like it. As I recall, it was my house that I paid for. Unless I missed something along the way here. Anyway, here's the video.
That's why, effective Wednesday, January 5th, the province will return to a modified version of Step 2 of the Roadmap to Reopen. These time-limited measures will help blunt transmission and preserve our hospital bed capacity. Measures include reducing social gathering limits to 5 people indoors and 10 people outdoors, requiring businesses and organizations to ensure employees work remotely unless the nature of their work requires them to be on site, closing indoor dining at restaurants, bars, and other food or drink establishments while permitting outdoor dining with restrictions, takeout, drive-through, and delivery. Closing select indoor settings, including theaters, cinemas, and museums, but permitting outdoor establishments to open with restrictions. Closing indoor sport and recreational facilities, including gyms, and permitting outdoor sport facilities to operate with certain requirements. Retail settings, including shopping malls, will operate at 50% capacity, along with personal care services. And indoor weddings, funerals, and religious services will be limited to 50% capacity, with outdoor services limited to the number of people that can maintain 2 meters of physical distance. In addition, on January 5th, the province will reinstate Directive 2 for hospitals and regulated health professionals, instructing hospitals to pause all non-emergent and non-urgent surgeries and procedures in order to preserve critical care and human resource capacity in the healthcare system. These measures will be in place for at least 21 days, until January 26, 2022.
Yeah, so as you can see here, I mean, you're only allowed X number of people in your house because, well, the government says so. But this isn't just in Ontario. Alberta did pretty much the same thing. Here, listen to their health ministry, and they tell what they tell you. It's pretty much the same thing, but, I just thought it would be nice to hear it from two different people this time.
For eligible adults who are not fully immunized, indoor private social gatherings are not permitted. Yeah,
once again, they're going to tell you, do this, do that. They don't apply to us, of course, but, do this, do that. However, having said all that, it's interesting that there is one person. Now, let me just go back for a second here, because one of the things that these governments seem to rely heavily on are what they refer to as their science tables. Now, these are supposed to be made up of people who are supposed to at least have at least a minimal amount of education, hopefully something in the health sciences field. And as it turned out, we have one over here. Let me just see his name here. I can't. No, it doesn't mention his name. Anyway, I'm going to post the Twitter feed up here, where it says very clearly, a member of Ontario's Science Advisory Table has resigned from his position, saying politics appears to be influencing public health recommendations. Well, boy, I couldn't agree with that more, because they certainly are doing that. But here are some of the politics that you don't hear about. For example, they're telling you, how deadly COVID is, and if you get it, it's a horrible death, and it's a major pandemic. It's global. Let's have a look at a couple of things that have happened during the exact same time as COVID. For example, I'm going to include this image as well in the video here, but this is worldwide from January the 1st, 2020 to March 25th, 2020. A little over 1.9 million people died from cancer. 1.1 million people died from smoking. 580,000 died from alcohol. 390,000 from AIDS or HIV. 313,000 from traffic fatalities. 249,000 people committed suicide. 228,000 people died from malaria. 113,000 people died by seasonal flu. 21,000, I'm going to round it up to 22,000, died by coronavirus. But I thought this was a worldwide pandemic. So if 22,000 people died from coronavirus, with the next number being seasonal flu at 113,000, why aren't we concentrating on that? Why aren't we concentrating on cancer, smoking, alcohol, suicides? Why are those not given priorities? Well, people, I mean, it's pretty obvious here that that the doctor was right. This is all politically motivated agendas, and I'm going to get to that in another video as to why that's the case. But right now we know that we have, you know, the big pharmaceutical companies are very much part of all this, because they've been raking in tens upon tens of billions of dollars to do this. In fact, in Australia, or actually, is it Australia or New Zealand? Let me double check that. Yeah, Australia. There was an Australian premier who is under police investigation because apparently she and others actually took millions upon millions of dollars to push Big Pharma's vaccine agenda. So, there's a lot of money to be made in here, I see. So these politicians want a piece of that action, so naturally they're going to be pushing such an agenda for people to follow. The G7, I mean, I don't even know where to begin with that one. Keeping in mind, this all took place during this so-called worldwide deadly pandemic. But as you can see in the images that I'm sending in here too, and putting in the video, one rule for you, one rule for me. When it comes to the photo op, they're wearing their nice little pretty little face diapers or masks or whatever the hell you want to call them. But when they think the cameras aren't off, nah, not so much. Schmoozing and hugging and kissing and doing whatever the hell else they're doing. Remember, it's one rule for you, one rule for the rest of us, because, well, you know, they're better than we are. At least they think they are. I want to end this with Justin Trudeau again, because here in Canada as our Prime Minister, I mean, this guy is the epitome of an actual bona fide idiotic moron. I mean, I oftentimes refer to him as a bag of rotting vomit. I think I'm being overly polite. But, you know, he's telling us on one hand, you know, to make sure that we stay home, you know, wear your masks, do this, do that, don't interact with anybody. Well, on the other hand, he's asked what he's going to do. Well, he's going to be spending his time with his family, of course. Well, why can't we spend our time with our families during holiday seasons, stuff like that, Justin? What makes you so special that you're exempt from following the same rules that we are? You see, that's what I mean when I talk about these idiotic hypocrisies that these governments think that they could just pull over our eyes, thinking that we're just simply going to buy into it and whatever. Sorry, Justin, it doesn't work that way. And pretty soon, this country's going to wake up, and hopefully when they wake up, you'll be long gone. Hopefully. Anyway, thanks for watching this video, and see you in number 4.